Hey guys. So I'm so sad and happy at the same time. Like, I have been thinking a lot about getting a cat. And I thought about adopting a cat. I really want a Maine Coon because how cool would that be? Anyways, and I'm so sad because I was cleaning my front porch, like the siding and all the dirtiness off today. And so I had a bucket of water and I kind of sprayed with some sort of bleach cleaner, like it's not like straight bleach, but it's like a Clorox cleaning stuff. It's got bleach in it or whatever. But anyway, so I sprayed the wall down and then I scrubbed with whatever. And as I'm pouring the very diluted, I'm sure, water onto the side to kind of rinse off the dirt, I sat down and I was, I think, probably flipping through YouTube. I heard this little teeny tiny voice mewing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because I had just literally dumped water. I'm sure it went between the wood of the deck. I felt so horrible. Well, anyway, this poor baby is crying all day when I was going in and out. And so I moved away some of the dead leaves and stuff that kind of get, when I use the leaf blower or whatever after I mow, it gets stuck under the porch, the wood stuff on the porch or whatever, and the skirt, whatever it's called. And I felt so bad because I was like, oh no, I got and like I said, it very little of the chemical was in the water, but whatever washed off the wall probably went down there and probably hit the cat or hit enough that it was freaking out. And I only heard one. And when I got down, I kind of pulled some of the trees and stuff away, the dead leaves and stuff away. There's kind of a pungent odor, so I don't think any of the other kittens survived. And so I have this black cat that's been kind of hanging around, and every so often I'll put food out, but our community is pretty good about feeding the wild life, the cats that don't have a home, they just have a neighborhood kind of cats. But they're not quite friendly enough to come up to you. Plus, if she is a mama cat, which I didn't know at the time that was a female, let alone mama. I didn't even know there were kittens under the porch until today. So every now and then I would put some, tuna. I have those tuna creations pouches or whatever, so I can make a sandwich or snack or whatever. And anyways, so I move all that stuff and I hear the baby, but I can't see the baby. So I pull out a little bit more stuff out from underneath, and I can finally see its little butt and tail. And but I couldn't tell if I was scaring. She was talking. Every time I'd say something, she would cry. And so I couldn't tell if I was scaring her or him, I guess, sir or ma'am. I don't know. I don't think they're sexed until they're 8 weeks old or something. You won't know. I don't know. Cats are like that. You don't know what their sex is until a certain point in their development after mama has them. But I didn't want to keep scaring it, but then she sounded like she was getting closer to the outer part of it. And so I went back down and I saw her, and she was right there, and she wanted to come out, but she couldn't quite figure out how to squish down and crawl out from underneath because there just wasn't quite enough room for her little wobbly self to wobble out, And so I reached under and kind of helped prod her along. She's terrified, I'm sure. Who is this giant thing that does not look a thing like my mother grabbing at me? And mom's been trying to keep us safe, hidden away under here. But again, no other sounds from any of the other, and it was a really bad smell. So I'm assuming that the baby had been underneath there, either with maybe a dead bird. Maybe it was the only kitten that she had. I don't know. But I didn't want her to be like laying under there with a bunch of dead brothers and sisters. Good God, how traumatic. I mean, it's a cat. They probably don't think like we do. But so I pulled her out and I brought her inside, and I felt really bad because she's probably, I mean, depending on whose information you look at, she looked like she could be maybe between 2 to 4 weeks, because there's differing opinions on what a kitten looks like at 2, 3, and 4 weeks, right? So one said, oh, she looks like she's 4 weeks, and her eyes are open, she's wobbly walking. And then another place said that's 3 weeks. And because I was really trying to figure out if, like, are we weaned? Because there's a point that's kind of like a gray area. And so I didn't know if she needed, to be like help to poop and pee still. Anyways, so I was like, well, I mean, I guess we can go to the vet. It's too late for me to go to the store and get anything. So I had like a little latex glove, and I put some cow's milk, which is horrible to give to any baby anything. If you have goat's milk, it's better, but I didn't have any goat's milk on hand. So I watered down some vitamin D cow's milk, which I don't really drink myself. Humans are the only ones that drink regularly, not for survivability, but another mammal's milk. That's bizarre. If you really think about it. And they say that if a baby is like rejecting formula, or the mother can't breastfeed, or whatever the reason is, they actually say goat's milk is the best milk for any baby mammal to consume, because I don't know why, because goats eat everything. And I mean this literally. They eat cigarettes, they eat they eat everything, but something about their enzymes, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, so I decided, because she smelled like death, and she's healthy, very, very healthy kitten. So I went ahead and I gave her a little bit of a bath, and I used the Dr. Bronner's unscented Castile soap. Anyways, dried her off and put her in a little basket, surrounding her with fluffy blankets and warm, and and she went to sleep. And I went outside, and I was sitting on the porch enjoying the evening, and I heard Mama looking for her baby. I don't know if she was looking for her babies, but again, like I said, I never heard any other kittens mewing. I'm sure if they are alive under there and they're not mewing, she'll come and get them later. But so I was like, oh no. Well, I'm not trying to take her baby, especially if she's not weaned yet, So I went inside, grabbed the basket, set it on the porch, and little miss was just snoozing away. So I had to kind of pick her up, and I said, talk to Mama. She just real quiet mewing. And so, and before she was loud and was letting me know, you ain't my mama. Where's my mama? Anyways, so Mama came out, and she was yowling, a concerned meow. So I was like, so I took baby out of the basket, and that kind of, when I stood up, she got moving. And I put her in the grass, and then Mama came over and sniffed her. Of course, she'd probably like, you don't smell like you anymore. I mean, it's not like I didn't wash her face, so at least her face probably still smelled familiar. And I think that that's like a kind of a false, like if you touch an animal in the wild, the mother they'll reject it, and that's not always true. I think there might be some species, but I don't believe that, like, cats and birds are not those kind, like where they won't take. Anyway, so she sniffed around, and kind of baby was like yowling, Mom, this strange lady took me and made me all wet and tried to give me cow's milk, and I drank a little bit, but I didn't like it so much. Anyways, she finally grabbed her by the nape and ran off across the street with her. And so if the other babies are still alive, which I don't think that they are, because when she went underneath, that I didn't hear any babies meowing or anything. So hopefully mom and baby are okay and safe. I'm sure they are. And I feel bad because I didn't realize that was a mama cat, and she felt comfortable enough to put her babies under my porch, and I feel bad that I made her not feel safe. But I'm happy that they're back together, because I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to take a baby away from her mom. But I was willing to take her to the vet in the morning, and I grew up in a very small town, and we had a vet that, we had 2 cats, and well, we had all kinds of animals, but the animals that we did have forever and a day were 2 cats. And the vet, one of them died from old age naturally. We found her outside by the porch, curled up in a little ball, poor thing. And then the other, my baby, like my baby, that was my baby. The other was more my mom's, but we had to put my baby down, and it's been, oh goodness gracious, it's been a minute since we put Misty down. But she was my buddy, man. She went everywhere with me, literally everywhere. She even went on a road trip from the middle of America all the way up to Seattle, down the West Coast, into Tijuana, Mexico. I had a little leash for her and everything. And that was when people didn't do that kind of stuff regularly. Like, that was something you didn't see very often. And people were just in awe. They're like, oh my gosh, you brought your house cat with you? Well, yeah. I had to leave her home alone for a month or 2, however long I was gone. But anyways, it's been hard to move forward from that. But I also love the presence of animals. I had a husky. The husky decided she wanted to dig through to China, through the upstairs. I don't know what happened that day I went to work. So my now ex, his sister and her foster kids adopted her, brought her in, because I thought, oh God, at least here she'll have like land to run and, lots of kids to play with her all the time. And so that was unfortunate. I don't know. It was just a really weird. She chewed up my gun. I'm so glad that the safety was on. Somehow she managed to get the clip out, and it wasn't loaded. It wasn't cocked. So there was no bullet in the chamber. But I just thought, oh my God, if I would have walked in and my dog was dead because she was gnawing on a gun. And again, I don't know why she was like, she just went psycho one day while I was at work. And it was bizarre. It was like this weird behavior. Anyways, I didn't want to, but also I can't afford, because I'm a renter, I can't afford to fix a house that isn't mine. If that makes sense. I mean, we fixed it, but we didn't have a choice. But yeah. So I love animals. I really do. And I think maybe hers was separation anxiety to the nth degree, because when I got her, she, I think she was 8 months old, No, she was 7 months old. She was 7 months old when we got her. And she was purebred and came with papers. I never did register or anything, but the lady that got her from the breeder had put her back on for adoption. And she said, well, this other lady got her, but she's being really aggressive with the Chihuahua that's in the house that she's had. And of course, the Chihuahua had, precedents, or not precedents. That's the wrong word. That's a bad word. The Chihuahua had dibs on Mama, on the fur baby Mama. So she was like, I can't keep this dog because she's way bigger and she's a husky. That's a meal for a husky. A Chihuahua is. So we said, well, we'd love to take her, and we did. And she was just real lethargic, and I'm like, what is going on? I think she's sick. So I was like, okay, what the heck? And so we had her a couple of nights, and she just kind of laid around. She didn't really want to eat. She was just kind of like, and she'd play a little bit. Well, I mean, she went from the breeder to another lady that got the brother and her. And then I don't remember why the lady said that she couldn't keep both. Maybe they got busy. I don't know why they didn't keep both of them. Anyways, they were from the same litter. And then she went to this other lady, and now she's with new people. So I thought maybe that's what it was, is because she was going from home to home. Like, that sucks. You get used to it, especially if there's kids or whatever in the house. And so I took her out to go to the bathroom, and then I saw her do the scoot. Oh, well, that's probably what's wrong. If any of you listening here don't know what the scoot is, when a pet does a scoot, that is typically, now they might just have a weird tick, but I don't mean tick like the bug, but I mean, it's like a weird thing that they do, but most likely your dog has worms. Or a cat, but that's what that means. In most cases. And I was like, oh no. Because now I need to go out. And it was a fenced in backyard, but now I need to go out and I need to make sure that it's all dead and taken care of. And sure enough, when I checked her poop, there were worms in it. But so I went to the vet the next day, and I was not in my hometown, so I didn't get my hometown vet, who I trust with any animal. I would tell my worst enemy, take your pet there, because I know that they're gonna save your animal or do whatever they can. So the vet gives me stuff, and I didn't like it because he kept calling her a he, and didn't want the poop sample with the worms in it. He said, no, you just throw it away. Like, I'm not a vet. You just gonna trust me, or we just give this stuff away for... I mean, but maybe it's because he knew that we had just gotten her or whatever. So anyways, I get her home, get her meds in her, and when she's finished with the meds and the worms are gone, she's still not acting right. And I'm like, what is wrong with this dog? What is going on? So she's laying by the front door one night, and so I get up and I go, because I was like, what else would make a dog lethargic? Well, I'm reading, and the vet said, yeah, well, she's all right health-wise, but I'm like, she's not still. So I find an article that says female dogs can be pregnant and be very lethargic at certain points in the pregnancy. And I was like, nuh-uh, there's no freaking way. There's no way. The lady said that she hadn't even gone into heat yet. She hadn't had her first heat. And then I started thinking, oh my God, was that Chihuahua a male or a female? Then I was like, how the hell does that happen? He had a little husky. I don't know. And we did look them up because I was like, oh my God, they're going to be so ugly, but they were so cute. If you ever look up a Chihuahua husky breed, they were adorable. Anyways, so I go over there and I sit down on the floor. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it can't be that much different than when a woman's pregnant, because we've had her now for, I think at that point, we'd had her for a month or so. So if this is what this is, she should be far enough along that I can feel. Sure enough, I'm sitting there and I'm feeling her belly, and my ex, well, my then husband, I look at him and I said, no freaking way. He says, you're bullshitting me. And I said, well, she's either pregnant or those are really big worms rolling around in her belly right now. I said, you can feel them moving, just a little bit of pressure. And I was like, that's why you aren't all playful and fun. And of course, she's like, oh, probably a sigh of relief, like, thank God somebody understands. What had happened, now this was my next fear. What had happened was, while the lady that got the brother and sister from the breeder thought that she had never went into heat, it was a false. They were outdoor. So she wouldn't have known if she went into heat or not, because they don't bleed like human beings bleed, right? So now we've got a new issue, and I start looking up, oh my gosh, what happens when purebred dogs inbreed? I was like, what's gonna, oh God, I don't even know. And then I'm starting to worry about like how many puppies I've got. Like, what the freak are we gonna do with puppies? I don't know what to do. Anyway, so long story short, it's 22 minutes criminally. Okay, well, it's like 10 minutes about the cat and 10 minutes about this. Whatever. Anyways, so she ended up having 6 beautiful, and I mean gorgeous, puppies. They all had the ice blue eyes. There were 3 of them that didn't have like your typical husky markings like she had. But we had 3 reds and 3 of the black and white. And they were so cute. Oh my gosh. But they did try when they got old enough. We put them out in the garage and put a heating lamp out there because it got really bad. That was the year that Texas lost all the power. We didn't lose power magically. We didn't lose power, but the washing machine, the line for the washing machine froze. And I went to Walmart. I was gone for maybe 20 minutes. And when I got back, it was like a flood in my garage, because Texas, they typically put their washers and dryers either outside or on a patio, and I don't know why they do that. I'm probably not on the new buildings, but when it finally thawed out, it just a teeny tiny hole, but it was like, oh, so bad. Anyways, but we had the heat lamp, but that storm didn't happen until after the puppies were old enough to be outside. So they were outside when this all went down. But, yeah, so the heat lamp was out there, and, they got old enough, and you try to pin them in, and it was a mess because I was ill prepared for this. And, I think I did okay considering. And, one day, I don't know, I think I probably went grocery shopping or something. When I got back, I heard this noise. I'm like, what? It sounds like something's like chewing through the wall. Oh God, do we have rats? Great. So I go out into the garage, and what do I see is a bunch of little puppies with white sheetrock all over their little faces, and they had tried to gnaw their way through. They wanted in so bad. They tried to gnaw their way through the garage wall into the kitchen. The little shits. Like, so we had to fix that. Other than that, they were pretty well behaved and they were really quick learners. Like, they would try to like always bum rush. As soon as you would open the garage door, they would try to run in. And so I had to like, the best way I could figure out how to do this with 6 puppies was to tap a broom in front of the door. And of course, it was something they weren't used to seeing. And so it scared them because it was, you know, this thing and it's making this weird noise. But I did that a few times and they knew as soon as I opened the door, they stopped trying to like run it, except for when he would open the door because I don't know. He doesn't, he just wants to be all, oh, you're so cute. You're a puppy. Blah, 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 blah. It is what it is. But, so they would do it to him. But the problem was they'd get so excited that they'd start piddling on the floor. And if they stayed in the kitchen, that was fine. But the kitchen ran into the dining room, and the dining room had carpet in this particular rental. And it's a rental. I'm not trying to like destroy it, right? Or let 6 wild little puppies destroy it either. But they would get so excited they would start like piddling all over the floor. Well, pee stinks, especially dog pee. And then you can't get it out, and it's a mess. But anyways, so that's my story about animals, the animal kingdom. I have a wasp nest living underneath the porch. They don't bother me. They're black wasps. I don't even think that I'm sure they would get aggressive if I started swatting around. Like, my daughter was sitting there with me the other day and she saw it and she was like, oh no. I was like, don't worry, they're not going to bother you. Like literally they have their little house down there and they come and go, but sometimes they get lost, and I jokingly give them directions like, nope, it's not that crack, it's the next crack. You need to go back. Like, they don't bother anybody. They're just like, I think my mom calls them twitch wasps or something because they twitch when they sit. Like they're like they're meth heads. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I should probably cut that out. But anyways, so yeah, there is a wasp's nest under there. I think there's a bunny, maybe not now, but I think there was a bunny rabbit that was kind of like hanging out underneath the porch, and then mama cat now. I think it was a dove, like a mourning dove, sitting on my railing. Had a hummingbird zip by, thinking there was a flower, and it wasn't a flower, it was just a little nautical glass. I don't remember what they're called. This is a little decoration. And what else? Butterflies. There's always a lot of butterflies around. And the robins, the birds. But I was like, yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool that the mama trusted me enough to put her babies under there. But now I feel bad because she's probably like, you psycho, what were you doing to my baby? Hopefully the baby gives good reports saying, well, she didn't really do anything. It was just kind of scary. She tried to give me milk and then maybe not stink anymore. And then I slept in a nice, comfortable, cozy, warm bed that was floofy. Anyway, so there's that story. And I was actually going to do a reading, but that turned into a 30-minute story about animals. I may or may not post it, but I might, because I think the stories are kind of funny. And that's really all I got. Thanks, y'all. Love you. See you later. Bye.